10-4 without any info. Guy could definitely still be a regular from the stats. I think we're just folding. We get an open jam here. Definitely just calling, trying and hoping the big blind goes over the top to isolate. Not much point obviously in re-raising here. Just hoping the big blind wakes up with a hand. And he actually calls, really interesting. Right hand side here. Both small and big bets are fine. I'm gonna start with a small bet here. I think I should have this stronger range when the big blind just calls. Yes, just started like a half pot, treat it like a 3-bit pot, and gonna overbet the jack 10 here, especially with the jack of spades. He calls. 10 is not the greatest. I don't think he has 8-6 suited. He could have 7x here. What 7x does he really have? Calls pre-flop 10s, I would assume re-raises. 9s as well. This is a really interesting spot here on the turn. I think we just keep betting in the 2E region. Although the round is gonna change a lot. I think this is still fine. Not afraid of too many hands here. It's gonna have a lot of pair plus flush draw here. King 10 of diamonds. Well, that's also a bit of an ambitious call. And actually has some outs here. But we do take it down. $10-9 here against the recreational after we isolate. We can go for a c-bet. I don't mind going for bits larger here, given the board is a bit more connected. And we get a very quick check raise. Nothing to do but call here, but they will definitely keep it in mind. Larger fighters, the only read that we really have here. And a snap check on the ace, so this makes me think very likely he was check raising a 9 himself, maybe a 6 sometimes, so against that range I will just check back. And the queen 80 on the left hand side, just an easy call. Really good river for his check raising range. It's going to improve a lot of his bluffs. Hands like flush draws and 8-7, but then his sizing doesn't make sense. And queen 8 now on the turn, just folding with a lot of better hands here. Pair plus a flush draw, pair plus a straight draw. This is very interesting here. The river card is good, but sizing doesn't make sense, so I think therefore I will just call. And sometimes see a hand like 7-5, hopefully, but it isn't great on this run out. And here does have the random king 10. So even though the river was really good for us, if you would pick the larger sizing, definitely folding here, but his sizing just didn't make any sense here.
Hello everyone, ValueHeavy Peter here with a quick announcement. At the end of August, we'll be bringing back the group coaching sessions led by our very own Roofy. If you're looking to take your poker game to the next level, this is your chance. We'll be giving you 5 in-depth sessions mastering 3-out pots, handling both pre-flop raiser, pre-flop caller, out of position and in position. The last session will be an extended Q&A and hand review with both of us. All of this together for only €99, so a really good bargain. If you want to join, make sure to check out Discord. Also, right now we're doing a giveaway on our Discord. If you want to join, again, check out the Discord. We're giving away 1 free spot in the group coaching sessions with Roofy. All right, that's all. Back to the video.
So again, going back to what we said previously in our, before we started playing, be sticky against fish and fold against aggression from regulars. But yeah, particularly be sticky against fish here. When the sizing doesn't really make sense. So you will deeper than 150 big blinds, which generally means that we have to be a bit more careful and we're going to use more small sizings, both pre and post flop. And ace jack, on ace jack deuce multi-way, I'm going to check back my weak ace. Good turn, but also one where both players are going to have the nuts, so we don't want to size up too much here. We're going to continue betting merge. We will still want to value bet a hand like ace king or aces here, and a small sizing is good enough to apply pressure here. He's just gonna have a lot of hands like Jack 9 and Ace Jack. Just the Ace 5 here, obviously an easy call, although we're not loving it when he sizes up multi-way. Interesting river, but I think against a big size now, we have a fairly easy fold. It's really tough for him to be bluffing on this run out. Basically everything. He would need to start bluffing like pocket 5s, which we block, or pocket 3s on the turn with a heart. We see him tanking and folding here, so this is maybe an interesting hand to talk about. So given how deep we are, so first of all, pre-flop, when you deeper than 150 big blinds, you actually see the 3-bet sizing becoming lower, because you can't reduce the SGR to a spot pre-flop that post-flop you're happily stacking off with, with one pair hands. So you're more careful, given you have the positional disadvantage. Here you can 3-bet or call. We'll just go with call this time. And then for post-flop, similar kind of thing. Even if I have hand like kings, aces here, or ace queen, 100 big blinds, that's an easy stack off. As soon as you get to 150 big blinds or deeper, and ace 3 just an easy fold here, you're not as happy stacking off. So you wanna, but at the same time, checking isn't that much great of an alternative option, because you allow him to realize equity, and because you were deeper, he's supposed to defend pre-flop wider, so he'll have a wider range of small bets, put a lot of his wider and weaker range into difficult spots, while making sure you lose less once you run into the top of his range. And especially on such a connecting card like the king, where he's gonna have Jack, both of us gonna have Jack 9, both of us gonna have Ace Jack suited and offsuit, both of us gonna have King Queen. The really only advantage that I have is kings, because he can even have queens here. King Jack against such a small sizing, we will call. So both players have really strong hands, so the only way that I can still value bet a hand like Ace King or Aces, or even King Jack, and get called by worse against half pot here, I think we just fold, although we do have the King of Hearts, but this seems to be too good of a board here to really continue pocket pairs that can improve better. By picking the small sizing, we make sure we can manage the size of the pot better when we have this kind of medium strength hands, and we still, our nuts is still gonna get raised by his strong hands and his bluffs like flush draws or some Jack 10 type of hands, while still putting a lot of pressure on his pocket pair region that called, and like 10-9, 10-8 suited, etc. Going for a c-bet here against a small blind after open raising. Small half pot, all fine here, and we see a check raise. He's gonna have 7s and 4s here, 10-7 suited, 7-4 suited could be in his range. Unknown guy, we don't really know. And for bluffs, obviously the 9-8-6-5 stand out, but there's also a lot of other gut shots that he could have. Good turn card for me, nonetheless he keeps firing, although not to an extent of an overbet. I mean, we have a really easy call with a pair plus a redraw. Still don't know much about him, so it's tough to know whether he's a recreational or fish. The 8 on the river does complete some of the bluffs. We block the 6-5, which is great. 9-8 I would assume just checks at this point, although could still fire as a bluff. Blocking my river 2 pairs. And he goes for another bet. Really, really interesting here. I think the best option generally is to just fold in this line where he's representing a lot of strength. And we block 6-5, which is great. But there's not that many bluff combinations, and I think we have a lot of better hands here to call. Kind of running out of time here. Wish I would have more time to think this through. But I think the most important part about this hand is he check raised and triple barreled, which will be a line, especially when he's in the small blind here, even though Georgian shows that he's in the big blind, which will be quite under bluffed, especially in the 8, where a decent chunk of his bluffs like 6-5 or 9-8 or Jack 8 or Jack 9 got there. And just as a baseline, folding your bluff catchers therefore should be the correct adjustment. Plus the fact obviously that we have 6-5 ourselves, we have 10-8, we have King 10, we have 10-7, all the sets. So it's not like we're over folding here by folding a hand like 10-5. Deuces I will still call with the recreational behind. King 2, this guy seems to 3-bet normally, so we'll fold King 3 off. Facing a c-bet 3-bet, I think we would fold. Now we have an interesting decision on the turn. Don't hate bluffing this hand, multi-way. Of course the cutoff is still somewhat uncapped. We have a decent amount of better hands. I think we do just check. We have a lot of 6x, 8x here that are probably better. Even a hand like 4-3 is probably better than deuces. The 3 is not the greatest out, and yeah, I guess a large delay, but we do just fold. A3 suited probably also fine against the recreational, or at least a broken stack. And pocket deuces with the min open and the flat call will definitely get in the mix here, especially being deeper. Maybe even have the chance to hit a straight flush. See a half pot c-bet multi-way and a board that's good for them. It's really, really interesting, really, really strong here. The question is obviously call or raise here. I don't hate raise right away, to be honest. We have 4s and 3s, we have ace 4, ace 3 suited, and obviously we have nut flushes too. It could just be, although that the cutoff is too strong, but maybe he overvalues a hand like ace king here. And yeah, against the raise he does fold. And the button has a lot of pocket pairs, ace 6 hands, so it could potentially fold too. And yeah, we don't have that many perceived bluffs in our range, as we don't really call a lot of offsuit hands pre-flop. So I think using pocket 5s and pocket deuces with a spade are probably the best candidates that we have, alongside maybe king, queen, or O, although I would probably just squeeze that a lot pre-flop. But given that we're deeper, can be likely that I would have that too. Happy just take it down right away, and obviously we can put a lot of pressure later on. And who knows, maybe the deuce of spades would have rolled off later. 8-6-3 low board, just gonna do a lot of checking, especially when we're deeper against the big blind here. And our hand can go into both check raise and check call lines. Now that he check back on the turn, again, really quick check back. So I think I'm gonna start betting right away, even though this turn is better for him, given that he checked back so quickly. A hand like 9-7, 7-5, even 4 deuce, I think would think longer before checking back. It's more likely to be an ace high, king high heavy range, which I want to attack. And how we see the raise. 6-5 makes sense, 5-3 makes sense. I think we have both options between call and re-raise. I think for this price we just call. We're still ahead of some draws. And I just expect his range to be fairly strong here, not having enough bluffs. I'm not too big of a fan of re-raising here. Maybe with a hand like 7x of spades. And now I think we do just check. Hope he checks back like a flush draw here. A random 10-9 that he decided to raise. But I expect him to be really pocket 5, 6, 5, 5, 3 heavy here. After checking back so quickly on the flop and then raising a big bet. So this sucks when my hand, like in theory maybe he can't even bet the queen for value. I think in practice he just always has 2 pair though. Maybe some 7x. Yeah, we will call this against this, I think, but I'm not in love here. Wow, he actually had king queen. So he does bet queen x for value, which then makes, you know, my call at least better here. But really interesting raise from him, checking back the flop, raising king queen high on the turn. We did go for the overbet here. And I'm actually gonna fire through here. Just don't think he's gonna check back enough flush draws or jack X. like he definitely can have a hand like Jack 10. This is definitely going into the overbluff territory. Really hard to put me in a lot of bluffs. 7x of clubs definitely makes sense as a check back. We get auto folds from hard draws, although those are less likely. But it's just really hard to see me on any bluff here, really, so I think we have to bluff that hand. Jack 10. I'll start with a small bet against the recreational, maybe planning to mainly check back the turn and Bluffcatcher river. Here we get another cold call from the recreational. Gonna start with half pot. Could also start with a small bet. We get a call. And yeah, plan is here to check back and then bluff catch the river or value bet. Turn here we can either go bet or check back. But I think just going for another bet seems fine. Probably going to the tune of half pot, putting a lot of pressure on 6s, 7s. And now easy jam. And here calling, although not loving against pot size, but definitely not folding. And this is the perfect run out for a hand like King Jack. We're obviously jamming. Not expecting to get a lot of folds here for this SPR. At this SPR. Well, we get looked up from 3s. I was about to say I would hope that hands like 3s through 7s are gonna fold here, but he did get really sticky. So unfortunate this time, but I think on average we will get enough folds there. This is a run out where loads of my perceived bluffs get there, right? My queen jacks here, my flush draws get there, and all of my overpairs obviously still strong enough to go to play for stacks here. 10-7 we ISO'd. Just gonna be really weak range here, and on the turn with a club I will continue barreling, having picked up some equity, putting pressure on 2s and 4x, and not loving to see this somewhat quick card on the turn. But I think still decent enough of a run out to go for the all-in shove here, go for the max fold equity. Even if he does have a random Jack X, he's not going to be too happy. And he does fold, and Jack 10 he checked back. We have the perfect combo to overbet here. We're going to be uncapped. He could have 6-5 in theory, but sure. People will most likely just see bet on the flop themselves. And here we went for the 3-bet to get 4-bet shoved on. Obviously, we just have to fold. He is starting with a small c-bet, although checking back is fine. Let's sit out next big blind. 7 interesting turn card. I think we still c-bet here, although checking back would be fine too, and gonna go for a smaller sizing, which kind of allows me to still bet 2 pair hands, maybe even some 1 pair hands for value, and we get check raise quickly, which is not great. Don't really see a lot of bluffs, but for these pot odds with implied odds, we're obviously calling. Unfortunately, we do just break. Sometimes he can have a flush draw that check raises and potentially gives up, so we can bluff it on the river. But now we are just folding. We could have also checked back on the turn. And that's it. Kind of ended the session break even after bluffing off the stack there. No, we have one more hand, never mind. But I think it was an interesting session nonetheless. Let me know what you think in the comments, and have a good one, guys. See you in the next one. Bye bye.